And as we come on the air, we are following breaking news as relates to conflict in the Middle East, while Israeli military experts say they are primed and ready for potential strikes from Iran and Hezbollah. U.S. officials do fear any blast could cause the Israel-Hamas war to spiral into a larger regional conflict. The rising tensions have many concerned this morning about the prospects of a ceasefire along with a hostage deal. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten joining us this morning to report on that and much more as it relates to conflict in the Middle East.
U.S. officials continue bolstering military assets in the Middle East, with Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin ordering a nuclear-powered guided missile submarine into the region and telling the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier that's en route to speed up its journey.
It is important to explain to everyone that readiness, preparation, and alertness are not synonyms for fear and panic.
Israeli military officials say they are ready for potential retaliatory strikes from Iran and its proxies, roughly 2 weeks after separate Israeli airstrikes took out a senior Hamas leader in the capital of Iran and a Hezbollah commander in Lebanon. But as IDF forces in Gaza press on with efforts to eliminate Hamas, a group of pro-settlement Israeli activists are calling for new Israeli neighborhoods in the Gaza Strip.
Our purpose here is to bring hundreds of families to establish new settlements in Gaza.
As for what the group's opinions are about Palestinians living in Gaza,
Hamas will be killed. People who want to live normally, we will enable them to go to other countries.
Meanwhile, formerly imprisoned Palestinians claim conditions in Israeli prisons have dramatically worsened since Hamas's deadly October 7th incursion into Israel.
The treatment was extremely humiliating, and we have been physically assaulted thousands of times.
Israel's national security minister has said prisons would no longer be, quote, summer camps. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Gary, thank you so much. And joining us live this morning to further discuss this breaking news alert is national security expert with the University of New Haven, Ken Gray. Ken, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
Good morning, Janae. Glad to be with you again.
Glad to have you. So it seems like we are only hours away from the worst that could happen, if you want to look at it that way. The Israeli military is saying they are primed and ready for potential strikes from Iran along with Hezbollah. If you could catch us up, please.
Sure. We've been waiting for that shoe to drop now for about a week. Iran, the Ayatollah Khamenei had promised to do a response to the assassination of Hania there in Tehran. And so it was expected that it would take about a week for them to prepare to launch their attacks. That was a week ago. So we are sitting here waiting for Iran to attack at any time. This seems to indicate a difference of opinion between the new president of Iran, Pezeshkian, and the Ayatollah as to what direction Iran should take. The new president seems to feel that this is not a good time for Iran to be attacking Israel. That being said, though, Israel now believes that Iran is ready to launch their attack, and Israel is ready to go to defend itself. In addition to that, the United States has promised to protect protect Israel from Iran. And so to that effect, despite the lack of the aircraft carrier there in the Eastern Med anymore, another aircraft carrier has been ordered to speed up its transition to get to the Middle East. And air assets have been moved to Cyprus. Both F-22s and F/A-18 Hornets have been moved to Cyprus to be ready to launch in the event of that Iranian strike against Israel. By the way, Jordan has said that their airspace will not, they will deny both Iran and Israel that airspace over their country to defend Israel, but also to stop Iran from using it to attack Israel. So it's interesting to see how this will play out.
Absolutely. And can you mention the U.S.? We know world leaders, including the U.S. specifically, they are worried that this strike potentially from Hezbollah and Iran could be a domino effect, if you will. They feel it could spiral the already looming conflict with Israel and Hamas out of control. Could you put that into perspective, please? Because many are wondering how could it affect that conflict if these are separate entities? You know, we want to differentiate Hamas from Hezbollah.
Sure. Hezbollah also had a strike by Israel against Faoud Shukr. The day before, Ismail Haniyeh was killed there in Tehran. So Hezbollah has also promised to strike back against Israel. They seem to be waiting for their main attack. They're waiting on Iran to join in on that. But at the same time, they've already, last week, they launched 50 missiles into Israel. Now over the weekend, they launched 30 more missiles into Israel. And so Hezbollah is really chomping at the bit here to go ahead and get ready to get into their main attack against Israel. Likewise, Israel is ready to roll into South Lebanon. They have pre-positioned forces in the northern part of Israel, and they want to clear out the southern Lebanon area so as to make it possible for Israelis to return to their homes in northern Israel. And so a lot of moving parts here. The one thing I'd like to point out is that during this 10-month-long war here in the Gaza Strip, 46,000, it's estimated that 46,000 Israeli businesses have closed. Their citizen soldiers, who normally are part of the economy, have become war fighters. So they're not available to be involved in the economy. And therefore, Israel's economy is taking a big hit because of this. And so in addition to the attacks on Israel that should happen any moment now, we also see the Israeli economy grinding to a halt.
Can you mention the soldiers? And I'm so glad you brought that up because the Israeli military is saying they are ready for any potential strikes. And if we look at the wide-scale regional conflict, if you ask some people, they would say, look, that conflict, that wide-scale regional conflict is already underway. But for purposes of what the U.S. is fearing, they're fearing that wide-scale regional conflict. For Israel to say they are ready for any upcoming potential strikes, do they even have the manpower for that? I know that they were already saying that, you know, they were having to find those that have, you know, retired from the military to potentially help out with the already looming conflicts with Hamas. But then if you add Iran and Hezbollah, the Yemen Houthi rebels on top of that, do they really have the manpower to come out on top?
So their army is not really designed for any long-term sustained actions against a number of forces. They are really set up to do quick strikes and to overwhelm the opposition with their force. So no, they do not have the manpower to really do this. They are relying upon the United States, France, the UK to assist them in providing air defense to their country to stop the missiles and drones that they expect to come in for this attack that Iran has promised. They could not survive a massive airstrike on the part of Iran and Hezbollah. Their Iron Dome would be quickly overwhelmed if they did not have the air assets that are being provided by the U.S., by France, by UK, by others. And so, no, they really are not set up to do a sustained fight against a number of different forces that might be willing to attack Israel at this point. But we'll see what happens. I think the main thing is that the United States has promised to provide air support to help Israel withstand an overwhelming number of missiles coming in and drones coming in at the same time. And without that, the air dome would be saturated and would not be able to defend Israel against this type of attack.
And Ken, that actually leads to my next question. You mentioned that air support. If we look back in recent days, we know when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was actually here in the U.S., he was pleading to Congress for more support for the conflict in the Middle East. But many are wondering this morning, with that support, could they eventually be asking for manpower support? We know we do have military bases over there in the Middle East, so could that become a possibility?
So we do not have ground forces in Israel at this point. We do have ground forces in Jordan. We have some forward bases in Syria and in Iraq. And so we could see U.S. forces going into those areas, especially if our current forces there are under attack too. I would not. I say that it's not possible that we would be putting boots on the ground Israel. I may be wrong on that. There is an amphibious ship that is in the area there that could quickly lift a Marine detachment into Israel if necessary. One of the main problems here is that our aircraft carrier we had in the Eastern Med that was providing a lot of air support has been withdrawn. It's back heading back to the east coast of the United States. Another aircraft carrier has taken its place, but that is not in the Med. That's down south of Yemen, or is going to be positioned south of Yemen. And so the air coverage from aircraft carriers is not as well positioned to provide that. That's a long distance away from Israel for aircraft to go and to fight and then return. And that's why Secretary of Defense Austin placed all those air assets in Cyprus. They are using Cyprus as the equivalent of an aircraft carrier to be able to launch and recover aircraft to help defend Israel. But boots on the ground, that's not right now in the offing, but it might change if this becomes a huge regional conflict.
Ken Gray, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving us your time and your expertise and your perspective on this breaking news alert. Is there anything else we need to be keeping a watchful eye for in the coming days? Some saying we are less than 24 hours from these potential strikes. But again, we know Iran and Hezbollah, if they do in fact strike, they're going to be very strategic about it.
So the negotiations for the ceasefire and hostage return is supposed to happen on Thursday. Whether this attack by a potential attack by Iran will cause that to stop, or whether the ceasefire talks might actually stop Iran from attacking, we will see on Thursday. So that's a big thing to watch, is Thursday, whether or not these negotiations continue forward.
Ken Gray, thank you so much for joining us bright and early on this Tuesday morning. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.